Hey, here we go, the credits.
Alright.
I like this game. This was good.
It's alright. I don't think it's perfect.
Yeah, remember the original intent of these two games?
Yeah.
They're trying to, let's play through Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and determine which one is the better RPG. And it's like, it's hard to say because Final Fantasy VI is fun, but we were done with Chrono Trigger months ago, so...
Yeah, on one hand, we got to compare the two as someone more familiar with one or more familiar with the other. And we kind of went into it knowing that, yeah, they're both actually pretty good in different ways, and instead of actually arguing about which one is better, we go, two cakes.
Yeah, it's like Squaresoft presents two different cakes, and this cake's a lot more slimmer and cut down
cake?
compared to our giant cake.
Yeah, but
we
this
pop
cake,
up,
but I like
dude,
this cake.
two cakes!
Two cakes!
Two cakes!
Yeah,
I think...
But at the same time, this one has been long.
Yeah, it's like a difference between like a birthday cake and a wedding cake. It's like the wedding cake is like 7 layers of oh, this is going to be delicious, but I'll be dead before I even get through the 3rd layer. And the birthday cake is like, I can destroy half of this and then come back for the other half later.
Yeah, the birthday cake, especially when you get those little small ones for a small little, maybe you and 2 other people or whatever, then, oh yeah, you have 1, maybe 2 pieces of that, you come back later, have another 1 or 2 pieces of it, and then it's almost gone at that point.
Yeah, but a wedding cake is designed to be eaten by 30 people.
Yeah, and if you don't have 30 people there, then, or if you have leftover cake after the end of that, it's going to go stale by the time you're done eating it.
I would say I kind of like Chrono Trigger more because it's more streamlined. You're not really meant to be grinding out as much. Like what we did a lot of grinding in here off screen for everything. That's why everybody had Ultima at the end, because we did a lot of grinding. But also, I kind of like the little more freedom 6 has, especially in the last half, because Chrono Trigger is just basically linear up until the end.
Yeah, you get led by the nose the whole way through the game.
Yeah, it's just basically story beat, story beat, story beat, story beat, story beat. Okay, now you can do all the side quest stuff because you're already at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Where Final Fantasy VI is more like, here's the first half, and it's just basically story followed the story beats. Here's the second half, have fun. Go find whoever you want, and then take on the tower and everything.
Yeah, and on one hand, I almost wish the second half had a little bit more structure to it.
Yeah, it would have worked better.
Give you your open world with all your stuff that you can go find and explore and have fun with. But just a little bit more structure to it, so it didn't feel like, alright, you got an airship, make your own game.
I mean, the whole point at that point is to explore, so...
I mean, it is.
I'd
like maybe just a little bit more than that.
Yeah, not necessarily led by the hand, just more like, here's some clues, go figure it out.
And admittedly, we did get some clues, specifically to get people back together. As soon as you'd finish one little story arc, you'd hear a rumor or something about a place you could go to get where you would end up getting another character back.
It's weird how it gets better, but also kind of falls a little flat in the second half.
Yeah, it's better and worse at the same time.
Yeah, it evens out. It's like I had more fun doing the stuff, but it's also like the story beats kind of went away.
Yeah, because you get more freedom, which is fun, but you also get more freedom, which is bad.
Yeah. But honestly, wholeheartedly, I enjoyed this entire experience. I'm definitely gonna get it on the Switch at some point and definitely play through, because I think the console versions have some little more add-ons here and there, especially because you can actually switch back between the original music audio and everything, which is always a plus for me.
There's also an unfair amount of side content that is not in this version.
That's the other thing. I really wish they would at some point just add them back in as a DLC pack. I mean, honestly, should add them in as a free DLC pack, but this
Oleg.
but this is going to be basically if they ever do that, it's going to be paid for DLC. But no, I think it weirdly hits the points where it needs to be, but also, hey, Yoshida-san.
Hey.
It hits the point where it needs to be, but also I could deal with a little more, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like...
Also, I like how all the world is green again after Kefka's
Yeah.
been killed, and it's like, oh, so the asshole clown was the only thing holding us back. All right, cool.
all that magic's got to go somewhere.
I mean, guess non-existent anymore, but
Yeah.
hey. Oh, apparently it has been 9 months.
Well, we
How
don't
long
know
were we up in the airship for?
Well, we don't know how long it'd been since then.
Hmm.
And we're not
It-
really told how long it's been.
It seemed to imply that she had been pregnant for a while, she just hadn't shown signs yet, or was hiding
Yeah.
it very well.
Yeah, and it also doesn't really tell us anything about the passage of time while we were exploring.
If we ever get to Dragon Quest V, you'll have fun with that one, I'll tell you that much. You go from married to with 2 kids, like, so fast, it is unbelievable. It's like, was every in-stay 9 months? What the hell happened?
And I think
Hey,
another...
he's Interceptor.
Alright. I think another one is... Man, they're quick.
Yeah, they built it. Well, they're all magic. Well, they're all former magic users.
Yeah. I think another bit is kind of as a detriment of the second half is without that lack of
Realm is also a surprise hit in this game. I thought she was just going to be the cutesy kid, and like, no, she is the gremlin.
Yeah, Realm is just there doing whatever, and like, no.
He's like Edgar's trying to hit on Celeste, and then Celeste is like, no, I got my guy. He's like looking off the side, and Realm's like, he's like, just a kid getting smart with me.
But I think because there wasn't as much plot structure in the second half, not only leading you around, but also giving you more detail in the characters and their interactions. You got, like, very little characterization in the second half.
Yeah.
And yes, you did get stories focusing on each one, but just having little scenes where they can, like, talk.
She let her
to
hair down.
Hey! But just having little scenes where they can, like, talk to each other about what the crap is going on goes much farther than you would think it would, even if it's not dealing with them and their problems specifically.
Yeah.
Like, there is more to a person than their problems. But not only did we, I think, lose out on a lot of interaction and characterization in the second half, but the focus on open world, kind of do whatever you want, made it very difficult to tie up. There was no hard line between mandatory and side content.
Yeah.
So what you got was, it felt like getting everybody their ultimate weapons and their ultimate awakenings and unlocking all the magicites and teaching everybody Ultima and all of that. That felt like it was the same style as content as just like getting all your party members together.
Mm.
So when you go to Kefka's Tower in the end, I think the reason for that distinction is like, yes, we are appropriately set up as the game would expect us to be for the finale, versus we have all the Infinity +1 swords and extra crap for the finale. And without a hard distinction, it almost feels like you went out and got all those Infinity +1 swords, but it just felt like the regular crap.
Man,
Which isn't necessarily bad, but then it leads to, like, it just feels appropriate to fight Kefka right now, and then we just, like, curb stomp him.
I can't believe it's over. Want to play again?
Give me a break. Then yes. And I think throughout the game, there has been... The game has been phenomenal. Okay. The game has been phenomenal. It has not been without flaws, though, of course. And some of that we've even mentioned before, the focus on the Esper system and teaching everybody magic.
And the magic, yeah.
It kind of detracts from what makes each character unique When, like, yeah, we have all these neat abilities and everything. I can also cast Firaga, like everybody else.
I hate banging that point again over and over, but it's also like, it's kind of part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't necessarily have to, but it's also like,
Well, and also as a summary is at the end. Because we have that, I think some plot points here and there maybe could have been orchestrated a little bit better, explained a little bit better. The big one that we pointed out was friggin'... Crap, my brain farted.
was it Ultima?
No. Locke.
Locke?
Just his story.
Oh, yeah.
And how it wrapped up in the end. That's one that we pointed out earlier, so I won't dwell on it, really. But just things like that where I feel like the story could have been told a little bit better in some places here and there. And then we've talked about the World of Ruin stuff. But overall, it's been alright. I think for the amount of time they let you have some the amount of time they had to characterize characters, I think there were too many characters in the game.
Kind of was. There could have been some that were trimmed down.
Like, by the end, we really didn't need, like, we could have cut 4 characters, probably. Easy ones would have been Umaro, Mog, Go-Go. Everybody else at least had some story, but, like... But I feel like you real easy could have cut down that, and then... had a more appropriate amount of characterization time on the remaining characters.
Honestly, Gal, but...
Probably Gao. Other than get you through the Veldt, he contributed nothing to plot or even his own characterization.
Okay. Before we continue too far on...
I'm more or less done at that point. I'm just
Well, I mean, I was
picking
gonna
up random... whatever random thing I can think up at the last...
That is adorable, yeah. I gotta say, I like this game overall. I'd definitely play it again. Probably do some things different. Maybe not go so hard in on the magicite stuff. Just because, like...
That's part of me playing, though, would be like... But they still want to learn magic.
Yeah.
I want to keep it on them, and by the end I'd just have everybody know everything.
That's the one thing that's usually hard with these kind of games, that if you go so far in a playthrough, you kind of don't want to play through it again.
Yeah.
'Cause
Like, once you've done enough, it's like, yeah, it'd be fun to play it again, but I've already seen everything.
Yeah. But, anyway, I was gonna ask... Favorite character of the ensemble?
Probably Celeste.
Really?
I like Celeste.
Huh. I'm trying to think my favorite. So I had to go gameplay-wise, it'd definitely be Go-Go. There was something about him that was just kind of fun to use.
Yeah, especially once you could equip him with crap.
Once I was told I could equip him. I didn't know you apparently had to go through the status menu, but that's just on me.
Status... Why? The status menu?
I think...
But, like, once you figure that out, though, how you control him gives you so many options. But... Beard!
I was
gives you so many options, but the options are still restricted. Because it's not like you can go into every fight and do everything. Like, no, you have to set them up beforehand.
I think if I had to say who would be my favorite character outside of gameplay mechanics, I mean, even including gameplay mechanics, I kind of like Sabin. I like his monk feel, where it's just like, yeah, he used magic a lot. I gave him almost as much magic as everyone else, but his blitzes were far more useful for the most part.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the way you used some characters' attacks, to me, felt a little unnecessary, like having to do the friggin' fighting game commands to do Sabin's moves.
I was also kind of surprised how much I kind of grew to like Shadow.
And, like, on one hand, I understand that with Sabin's moves, in the original, you did not get the prompt telling you what buttons to press.
Oh no, you had to memorize that.
You had to memorize that, which made it a little bit more like a fighting game. But also, why?
Because it was a fighting game. Like, they like fighting games. Why not?
I mean, just thinking, like, from a gameplay
Didn't
perspective...
you have to do that with Tifa? Or was she just, like... I swear you had to do it with hers as
You had to
well.
do something, but it wasn't that.
I don't know if it was as in-depth as hers.
I think Tifa was handled a lot better than... Like, similar, but handled a lot better.
God damn.
Because then it comes to, like, oh no, I have to memorize this combo. Well, from a gameplay perspective, what is the player getting out of having to memorize these combos?
If I just had to pick a character who was just Amano's OC in Final Fantasy, it sets her with just this picture. I mean, it's just watercolor perfect right here.
Like, the easy thing to do is to, like, write it on a sticky note and stick it to the top of your TV. You gotta do something? There you go, there it is. And then, once you have it memorized, it's just execution, but it's the same execution every time. And if it's the same execution every time, and it's not...
Okay, it also helps that it's literally some of the easiest combos to do.
Yeah, like, they're
Phantom
relatively...
Rush is just basically like boop, 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 boop. Just do a circle.
Yeah, like, the execution kind of becomes a non-issue. So by the time you've memorized it, it's just... It's wasting your time at that point.
Also, I'm very surprised how much I came to like Realm as a character. Just because
Realm
of her
was good,
utter
though.
gremlessness.
Realm was good, though. Which is funny, because I remember even kind of looking ahead and trying to remember Realm, and going like, oh, Realm, yeah, I don't remember liking Realm much or whatever. But then, like, we saw her, like, no, Realm was great.
Mooglebutt.
Mooglebutt.
Yeah, I still like Locke, but his story was, like we've said, our piece, but he was
Yeah.
actually really good. And again, Go-Go, surprise hit for me. I was like, oh wow, I actually really like Go-Go.
Yeah. Kind of non-existent plot-wise, but that's almost the point, since he's, what was it, a guest from another game or some such?
It's the idea is supposedly he is Go-Go from Final Fantasy V. Because at the end of that battle, he teleports away, and it's implied that he might have teleported into 6. So...
Yeah, so, like, that's almost understandable that he's kind of just a cameo. A guest character, if you would. Umaro felt completely unnecessary.
Superfluous, yeah. I would definitely get a painting of that on the wall. On
Yeah,
my
it
wall, I
looks
can
nice.
tell you that much.
Like, that feels like one of those things where they had kind of an interesting idea, and they said, hey, wouldn't this be kind of neat?
And then there's this asshole. Yeah, not every character needs to be fully fleshed out, and I kind
Yeah.
of... That's why I like Go-Go. It's like, Go-Go's just there to be an extra character, and he's kind of fun for it.
And, like, Umaro wasn't fleshed out in any way, but he was very much just a, hey, we've got kind of a neat idea for a character. Let's just put him in there so you can play with that if you want to. But then that leads to the other problem of the World of Ruin, which is, weirdly, there's not a lot to do. Like, you got Umaro. What do you use him for?
I mean, outside of the Colosseum.
Yeah, like, by the time you get him, there's, like, 1 or 2 things you can use him for. Which also is where this game needed a Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
I felt. Like, for all the post-game that you built up, for everything that you did, and then you didn't have anything to use it on, other than curb stomping Kafka. Go back one. I just want to say,
The kick.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that.
Well, you love him less when the Guardian summons him in. Is that Yeah, that is supposed to be his foot down. Because it looks weird, because the pants just seem a little bigger than they should be. So I thought maybe he was kind of bent there a little bit, but no, he's just straight kicking.
Yep.
Because you see the other pants are bent, so you can see where the knee's at. I love that you look at this one in comparison to this one, and you can kind of tell where Amano had a little more time to draw it. But you're also like, this is one of those ones where you're like following an artist, and they go like, I did this in an hour, and it's like, you did this in an hour? Do you know how many people would kill for artistic abilities in an hour for this?
And like, that one, I love it because of the pose.
The dynamic action of it.
Yeah, like the second one where he's just like dukes up.
Yeah, put him up.
That one, it's so much less interesting.
That's
the
why
first one's like a JoJo pose.
That's why I made that joke about like Amano. It's like they can't have him just do concept art. He just has to make like these are all concept arts.
Yeah.
They're not. Well, I think you said like they had come up with most everything else. He was just doing the artwork afterwards. But like
I think it was the characters.
Like the party members.
The party members
Yeah.
are the ones that he drew after they had already made the sprites.
Yeah. Like all of this other stuff is just basically like either concept art or just making it just sketches for the stuff in here, and then it's where they translate it into it. Oh,
They just gave him a stack of paper and said, "Hey, can you draw us a whole bunch of cool crap?"
Yeah, it's like just have fun, Amano. He's like, oh, I sure will.
Heck yeah.
This is my art. This is my life's work here.
It's like, you want me to do anything in particular? I want you to live your best life.
Didn't use a lot of the
That's
summons.
another one. That's a good pose.
What, Raiden?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
no,
good
like
pose.
this is definitely one of those like. It's one of those ones where it's like, you don't need to show off too much Amano, but sometimes, damn, you show off just the right
Amano,
amount.
this is concept art. Calm down. Imps.
Yeah, that second phase kept throwing imp at people.
Yeah.
And
that
these-
second phase has a lot of status effects and crap,
This is
too.
Nomura's artwork, isn't it? Yeah, this is Nomura.
This is for the, was it the iPhone version?
No, I think this is the original version. This is just like they're translated like this is what they kind of look like. I think the iPhone stuff used this.
Like, they scaled this up. They scaled this up and used it as like the battle sprites and whatever, and they look so uninspired.
It's because everyone has like their chest pumped out and they have their hands to the side instead of like this nice looking detailed sprite. And
Oh, I don't know
everything.
what it was. Like, whoever decided what the art was going to be like for that release. But it's higher resolution and nice and sleek. And it looks like crap. It has no personality.
I think this was the first one. Was this the first? He did some stuff in 5. I remember that.
Oh, he's got some muscle for an old man.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got this as a granddaughter. You have
That's
to.
true.
Cute little mog.
Where's his palm?
Oh god, he doesn't have one. He also has
That's hardly a Moogle.
Well, also the other thing is I want you to see if you notice this before I say it. We can see his eye.
Yeah, that's the other cursed part.
Also, no butt cheeks. He all flat in the back.
I knew something was wrong with his eye, but for whatever reason, I'm like, should his eyes be bigger? What's wrong here? And then as soon as you said you could see it, it's a, yup, that's the problem.
Alright, so...
Yeah, we've been through everything.
Well, there's a couple at the start that I can go through, but we're not going through that whole
Yeah.
thing.
We did not see every enemy in the bestiary. At this point, we don't care anymore. There's only a small handful that we didn't see, and I think it's largely overworld enemies from World of Ruin.
Yeah, there was also a couple in the World of Balance that we missed, but they're like one-time kind of things.
Yeah, there were some that I know we hard missed in World of Balance. There may have been some we hard missed in World of Ruin, but I think mostly it was like overworld enemies because every area we went into, I think we saw every enemy.
I never ran into a cactuar. That is
Did
the
never
only.
run into a cactuar.
No, this is where the game they first showed up.
I think that's another overworld enemy.
Yeah, there's another spot in the overworld we could have
Like a
gone
little
to.
desert or something,
Yeah.
probably.
But overall, I gotta say, I liked this. It was very enjoyable. It had some cons to it that we've gone over plenty of times, so we don't really need to go over them again. But overall, I liked it. Definitely recommend it. They are currently available on Steam, iOS. You can get the console versions, which have a little more pizzazz to them, that are currently available on the Switch, PS4, PS5. I think it's it for the consoles. They're not on Xbox for some
Yeah, I think you have
reason.
to deal with the crappy sprites, though.
No, the same sprites like this. It's the
Oh, the console of the Pixel remaster.
yeah, the
is
console
what
of
you
the
mean.
Pixel remaster. Yeah, it's the because this is also on iOS too. That they replaced the old iOS version with these versions now,
Ooh.
and it's the text. They change it so you get like a pixel text now
Ah.
instead of that like.
Which
scrunched
probably
up
looks
one.
better on a smaller screen.
It seems like it does, but yeah, they're currently available all there. They're pretty. Honestly, they're pretty cheap each game for like the most expensive one is $6, but you know it's $6. They put in the most there, and I gotta say, like out of all the Final Fantasies, I can't say this is the best one. I can definitely say this is the one you want to play for like the original 6. But I gotta say, out of all the original 6, before it went on the PlayStation and Final Fantasy kind of just went and did its own Final Fantasy stuff, I gotta say, this is the best of the 6.
Yeah,
I think we'd have to definitely go back for 5, but I think 5's... It's got its own stuff, but like 6, I think 6 is basically just like, yeah, no, this is basically... Because I think after 6, a lot of the old staff kind of went off and either got promoted or went and started their own company. So like 7 on is like the new kids, which is like still good. 7 and on still have some banger games, obviously.
Yeah. I feel like...
Like we still have to do 9 at some point.
Yeah, I feel like, and I've mentioned this before, the Final Fantasy games are kind of separated up into different eras, almost. The first era being, I would call it, like, 1 through 3.
It's like the NES era.
You know, like, it's the ones that had a heavier emphasis on kind of medieval knights running around, the job system going into it to make your own character kind of thing. Then they started getting into what I consider, like, the core Final Fantasies. And that is where 6 falls in. And I feel like 7 falls into this too, even though, like, come the PlayStation era, you'd think that would be a major change. But honestly, I played 7 first, and when I played 7, I was, like, ignorantly, because I was a dumb kid, going, this is so revolutionary.
Schoolers.
Yeah, this is so revolutionary. Nobody's ever done anything like this before. And then I played through 6, and I went, oh, this is just 7, but 2D.
I don't know if I've said this particular before, but there's so many times...
8 changed a lot. Thematically, 8 changed a lot. That's why I consider 8 the start of the next era.
There's so many things that I have, like... The other 2 examples I have for that is, like, Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. You just play them back and forth. You go like, oh, Ocarina of Time is Link to the Past, but 3D.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, and Metal Gear Solid is like... Metal Gear Solid is just Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, but 3D. And it's like, this weird, like... It's that safe transition. It's like, take that plot points from from this one game and just translate into 3D.
Yeah, we had something good here, so let's just do that. Maybe iron out the edges.
It makes it easier for the transition.
Yeah.
So, you know...
Instead of reinventing the wheel on top of dealing with
yeah,
a whole new dimension.
But yeah, no, I like 6. 7 will do at some point.
Yeah, 6 is definitely one of the better Final Fantasies.
Yeah, 6 is definitely one of the better Final Fantasies. I would have to say...
Conk.
I think if I had to choose, like, some of the best Final Fantasies, 6 is up there. I think 9 is considered the best of the PlayStation. Like, 7 gets a lot of praise, but 9's, like, apparently everyone's favorite.
So many people absolutely love 9, and I cannot stand 9.
Well, I have a reason I can't stand 9, and I think it's because the old PlayStation graphics on newer monitors made me motion sick for some reason. It was the weirdest thing. I would get motion sick for some reason.
I can't stand it specifically because Zidane, whatever. He is insufferable to me. I cannot stand him.
Is it going to be like another one of those lock kind of things where we go in and go like, I like this character, and then we get like plot points and we're like, oh.
It's pretty much from second one I can't stand him. And by the end of the game, he's like gotten a little bit better, but I still just...
I'm getting the feeling I'll be playing through 9 when we get to that one.
Yeah,
let's see. And
like a lot of people like him. More power to you. I cannot stand him.
God help me, I don't want to toot the horn too much, but Final Fantasy XIV, honk honk, come on. It's basically just like, what if we took all of Final Fantasy and distilled it into one game?
Yeah, it is difficult to put an MMO in the same category, though.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
So, like 14 is real heckin' good, but, like, how does it compare to these? Kind of incomparable.
Yeah. I hear 16's doing really good right now.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. It's definitely one of those, like, we've seen a lot more people doing not my Final Fantasy, but I'm also like, Final Fantasy has been action-based since, like, 4 with the ATB system, but it's like, I get where the whole, like, turn-based is kind of faded out, but, like...
Well, and that, I'm almost of the same boat. Maybe not as aggressively, but the turn-based strategy... And the ATB gauge adds a bit of interest to that, for sure. But it's still a turn-based strategy game. And that's what I like. 16 has moved completely over.
16 kind of reminds me like almost D&D-esque, which is a little too fitting for Final Fantasy, considering Final Fantasy 1 was just basically a D&D campaign.
And 16 has moved completely over to an action-based system now, and that's just not something I'm interested in.
Oh.
Like, I'm not going to say, like, how dare they? It just means, at this point, I'm just not interested in Final Fantasy anymore, if that's where they're going with it.
I feel like you'd get into it somewhat if you gave it a chance, but I'm not forcing you into it.
Like mostly, I'm just, like, you can tell me the plot's fantastic or whatever, I'm just not interested in the gameplay.
I could tell you one thing right now that I did like about it. I've seen one bit, and I think it's where, like, Odin and Bahamut have a thing against each other. They have a battlefield where everybody's on the battlefield. Guess what happens? Some people throwing some fireballs on the goddamn field. I'm like, good, you did dark fantasy right, because some people are slinging fireballs for once.
Yeah, I personally,
yeah,
I think the whole current era of Final Fantasy, what they're moving into now, 16, 15,
7 remake,
even 13, I feel like was kind of their first foray.
13 was, and I'm surprised they kept on with it, especially considering 13 was not well received overall. I think the first game was fine. I think the second game did a little better, but that third game was like, no.
Yeah, I think 13 was when they started moving into the current era of Final Fantasy, and 13 is when I'm just not interested anymore.
Which is weird considering that's the current era that includes 14, but, it's also including Legacy.
Yeah, and also, I think it's also because...
I like how they switch characters just literally running into each other.
I think that's also because it includes 14, but I think that's also where it's an MMO, so it can't be directly compared to the others. And though I'm not fond of current era Final Fantasy, I do still like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, that's why these are available right now. On pretty much almost everything except for Xbox, which is weird. They're on Steam, but not on Xbox. whatever. I don't understand the
Weirdly, 12
intricacies.
actually was technically the first one that started doing something more action-based. And I don't know why, but I still kind of treat it as not current era.
Yeah, no, I can kind of buy it.
I think it's because it was kind of just ATB, but like open world though. You had to wait for your bar to fill up, and then you told him to do something, and then he like had to physically run over and do it. So like it looked open world, but it was still effectively ATB.
Basically, like, what if we trimmed down Final Fantasy's TV gauge into something else?
Yeah.
No. I think, honestly, 16's been out for a while, and it's doing bangers, so, you know.
Yeah.
It's definitely looks like it's done pretty good, so... But we'll see. You
You
never
go,
know.
Yoshida, you do the thing!
You never know what 17's gonna be like. 17 could just be like, we go back to turn-based a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Also-
feel like that would be difficult, though, given that they're trying to appeal to a larger audience, and making a strictly turn-based RPG is not the way to do that.
Yeah,
and
it
I
turns
know
off
people
a
will
lot of
say,
people.
and I know people will say, oh, but there are plenty of games like that, like the Persona series. Have you actually looked at the sales numbers of the Persona series versus something like Final Fantasy?
Dude, I could literally cut your entire argument down. Not down. I could support your entire argument. Look at Dragon Quest, how much they push that, and that's purely turn-based.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's try to...
I think at this point is when I start playing Dragon Quest instead.
Well, let's try to trim this down, so...
Yeah, anyway, I've just been rambling for a while. I haven't really had anything meaningful to talk about for like half an
Well,
hour.
no, I just wanted to say, like, 16's been out, so people have been having fun with that, and I hope that's another good entry in the series,
Yeah,
especially
and I do
considering...
hope it's going to be good.
Especially considering, you know, Naoki Yoshida, the guy who basically helped save 14 and is making this game, and Soken, the music guy, who's just basically like, oh, you know what? Uematsu? If you want, you don't have to worry about Final Fantasy music now. Soken's got it. But yeah, no. Overall, I gotta say, 6 is definitely one of those ones that if you recommend a Final Fantasy game to somebody, it's definitely gotta be 6 for one of them.
Yeah, definitely one of the better ones.
Especially if you want to give them an idea of, like, what in... Not necessarily an old... Well, it is technically old school, but if you want to do, like, that...
Traditional.
Not traditional. It's that feeling of, like... When old school started to modernize. Where it's like RPGs weren't kicking your crap in so hard from here on. So it made it a lot easier for everyone to get into. In comparison to, like, you roll and then your character dies because you didn't roll high enough. Like the old RPGs.
Yeah.
So it's just like... It's that weird moment where old school modernized enough for where people could like it, and just really help RPGs just like flourish in what they did, because it's like the SNES, it's like the end of the SNES onto the PlayStation. That's when RPGs just went boom. Also, Tactics is a good one, but that's a little out of our wheelhouse because that's a spin-off, and it's also a little more tactics based, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I remember enjoying Tactics, but I also cheated the heck out of it.
That feels fair. I'm gonna be honest, Tactics definitely seems one of those ones that play for the story more than the gameplay.
I mean,
sometimes.
I cheated the heck out of every game that I played back then, so that's not really a surprise.
I did too. Game Genie.
Yeah, I didn't even attempt it though. I didn't boot up a game and go like, "Oh, this is kind of hard. Maybe I could get something to help me out." I was like, I'm not even gonna play that game if I can't find a quick level up code. Not even gonna try it. I want to be level 99 after the first fight. That's the only way I'm playing any of these games.
Also, I did like Celeste. I like Celeste and Terra's story throughout this whole thing. They did really good with them.
I played through so many JRPGs though because of that.
I cheated Mega Man, and Mega Man's easy.
Go rent a Mega Man's easy, you say?
Yeah, now. We were kids back then.
Maybe with like save states.
Okay.
Kicked my crap in.
Okay. You know what? We're gonna do a Mega Man game now, just to to show you how easier it's been. Anyway, folks, that has been this playthrough of Final Fantasy VI. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed the series enough to maybe go out and procure the games on your specific console. And if you want the more modern ones, well, God help you with the PS5. I don't know how those are doing so well. I think they're better. Everything's kind of mellowed out on sale-wise, so you can get them a lot easier. So, you know, if you want the 16... You know what the funnier thing about 16 is? You open up the case and it has a flyer for Final Fantasy 14. So I was like, alright, Yoshida, you're being a little too cute now. And, you know, you just get your final... If you want turn-based, go get the Pixel Remasters. They're great. You want a new modern one? 16's out right now. You want to play with friends? 14's available. All these games are available. Just get what you want. But we were just doing this because we wanted to see Chrono Trigger versus Final Fantasy VI, and it just turns out we both wanted a slice of both cakes.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the question. What are the cakes? Okay, birthday one has to be ice cream cake. I love that stuff too much. Unless you specifically need another type.
No, I'm good.
What about wedding cake? What kind of wedding cake do you like? Do you do traditional, or do you want to do something fancy?
I want marble.
Marble?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems good. Just put them both on.
Because vanilla's they're too plain. You need more than that. But like chocolate, that's gonna...
Chocolate can be a little too much
It's
sometimes.
it's too much when it's all chocolate.
So...
But maybe like that and...
Okay.
Maybe chocolate icing.
Yeah, now that would work. So we got marble cake, marble wedding cake with chocolate icing is Final Fantasy VI. What kind of ice cream cake? Do you want like a cookies and cream kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Chrono Trigger's is cookies and cream ice cream cake. So we got both of those on our plate, and we're going like, oh man, 2 cakes! 2 cakes! Came in here with a versus idea. It's like, which one's gotta, one of them's gotta be number 1, and we left with like, I got a plate with 2 cakes on it, and I'm eating the whole thing.